So here's what the warm-up says. A self-serve frozen yogurt store sells servings up to 12 ounces. It charges 50 cents per ounce for a serving between 0 and 8 ounces, and $4 for any serving greater than 8 ounces and up to 12 ounces. You're going to choose the graph that represents the price as a function of the weight of a serving of yogurt. So don't say it out loud what you think, but one of those is the right answer. Take it kind of like a test, like which one would the answer be if this was on your test? Just quietly think to yourself for like 30 seconds. So table 6, what is your answer? And why? That you're not table 6. Aren't you guys table 7? Oh, let me check. Okay, yeah, you're right. I guess in my first hour it's whatever. Table 6, you said A. Why? All right. It is not A. Anyone? Table 7, what do you think then? It's not A. Okay, why C? Because did you say it doesn't start at 0? Yeah. Okay. How much would they charge for 0 ounces of yogurt, class? So it should start at 0. So that's why it's not C. I mean, there's probably other reasons, but that's why it's not C, because it doesn't start at 0. Table 8, what do you think? We're down to 2 options. And why B? So hold on, I should only hear this table talking. Okay, table 1, maybe help with the explanation.
At the top where it's explained, it says that it's $4 for any serving greater than 8 ounces. So the window is about $4.
Okay, and then anyone want to add to that? What explains this portion of the graph? Brian?
It charges 50 cents per ounce.
Good. So for the first 8 ounces, it charges a certain rate, 50 cents per ounce. So it depends on how much you get. After 8 and up to 12, they charge what, class? $4. It says so in the description. So I did read it to you. Hopefully you guys were listening. Sometimes I think you just wait till you're called on to try the problem for the first time. And that's not okay. I gave you time to talk about it with your group. There's no reason that none of you have anything to say. But yeah, just reread the problem. The description usually lies in the problem for the graph, and you just pick the best one that matches. So it's not A because it's not a constant rate throughout. Same with D, they do change the rate after 8 to 12 ounces. And then it's not C because that would suggest that they're charging $4 no matter how much you get. So that is why it is B. So good. Now moving on to what is on your note sheet. We're going to look at a few different scenarios and practice with the piecewise functions. So postage stamps. The relationship between the postage rate and the weight of a letter can be defined by a piecewise function. So that's a new vocabulary word. Let's just read its definition real quick. It's not on your paper. If you want to jot it down, you can, but it's also in the glossary already that's posted in school. So you don't really need to write down definitions. You just need to practice them. So for the piecewise function, it's a function defined using different expressions for different intervals in its domain. So expressions are like 50 cents per ounce, so like 0.50 times X. Or just $4, flat fee, something like that. Different expressions could be mathematical sentences for that. And it's for different intervals in its domain. Domain refers to all the what in a function. Good, the x's. So for different x's or different inputs, they might have different expressions for them. So that's what we're looking at today. So back to the example on your paper for postage stamps. The graph shows the 2018 postage rates for using regular service to mail a letter. You will answer the first question in your group. So what's the price of a letter that has the following weight? And then come to an agreement so that when I call on you, it's not a I to know. Table 2, what's the price to mail a letter that is 1 ounce? Sorry, what did you say? 50 cents. Anyone disagree with that? All right. So let's see if that's accurate. Here's the ounces on the x-axis. It's already labeled for us. It did say that it's a function of the weight. So that also tells you that weight is the x. Anyway, here's the one. See where it touches the graph. But look, it kind of, I guess, touches two areas. One is a closed circle, one's an open circle. How do you know which one is the one you need? The closed circle. Just like when we said before, when we were dealing with open and closed circles, if it's closed, that number is part of the solution. If it's open, it's not. So like how you bubble in your answers on a test, that's your solution. It's the closed circle that is. So 50 cents is correct. Table 3, what about 1.1 ounces? About 0.74. The book says 0.71, but I would accept anything from 0.71 to 0.74. I would just say not 0.75 exactly, because does it touch the 0.75 exactly? So clearly a little below that. Good. And yeah, that 1.1 would be about here. It would touch like this part of the solid line. So now it's the next scale up. Table 4, what about the 0.9 ounce? $0.50, yes. So 0.9 would be about here, touches the solid line at the 50-cent mark. So knowing how to read these is really essential. You're going to be tested on that soon. Because when are we testing for unit 4? This week. Not Friday, Thursday. We are testing. Yeah, it's been in the calendar. It's been on the slides. Here's the slides for today, for example. It's been in there. So over the next few days, make sure you have all your note sheets for lessons 1 through 12. If not, copy them onto your own paper. And you know, every like unit test, that means the work from that unit is due. So don't be putting that off. Not too. But yeah, we're actually testing for it on Thursday. Remember, unit tests are not open note, so you do have to like know your stuff. Quizzes are open note, but whatever you get on the unit 4 test, if it's higher than your quizzes, I'll bump up your quizzes. Stuff to study for the test, I've already mentioned, but I'll just show you again in case you've been absent or whatever the case. but it's right here chunked at the top of Schoology. I think I'll move it into this week's folder since we're testing this week. But yeah, you have your vocab words, your practice test. This one's the one that's 100 class points, and it looks just like the 100-point portion of your test. That's really great study tool. And then also what's new this unit that we provided is a practice test for the constructive response. And it literally looks just like the test, except for different numbers are used. So like, let's just take a moment and look at it. Because this first question is from the lesson we just started today. So briefly read it. It's about how much it costs to hold a prom. First part of this says, how much does it cost to have a prom with 150 desserts? Who thinks they know? Brian? And how do you know? So 150 falls between 0 and 200. Wouldn't you guys agree? So since 150 falls in this range, this is what it costs. That's how we're reading it. Remember, function notation is like short, gives you a lot of information. So that's how you read that. If the number falls between 0 and 200, it costs 4,000. What about 250 desserts, class? How much would that cost? Good, because it falls between the 200 and the 500. Easy enough. Now, remember the constructed response isn't 100 points, it's 50 points, but I still have people like just not even attempting it. I don't know if it's because they just don't have time, if they seem to think it's optional, but it's not optional, it's part of your test. And it's really not that many problems. Like, take a look. There's 1, 2, 3 problems. Yeah, some have multiple parts, but in total, it's 3 problems that are worth 50 points. I wouldn't just say, no, I don't feel like doing those, especially when you have a practice test that looks just like it. So, keep that in mind. We'll look at this more once we fully finish lesson 12, but yeah, just reading the symbols, knowing what they mean is a big part of this. So like, what if it was asking for 500 desserts exactly? How much would that cost? Well, let's see. We have the 500 written in 2 places, but which one has it where it's equal to the 500? The 6,000. Right, so that's a part of it too. Question? All right, so let's go back to our example that we were just looking at. This one we won't spend a lot of time discussing, but it's just one question. So a letter costs 92 cents to mail. How much does the letter weigh? Think about it. All right, class, how much did the letter weigh if it cost 92 cents to mail? Could there be more than one answer? Yeah, because if we look where the 92 cents is, it looks like we're talking about this piece of the graph right here. So, sorry, and I didn't catch quite what you guys said. What did you say it could weigh? Could it be 2 exactly though? I would say no to 2 exactly. Because if you look at the 2, which one has the closed circle? Which means that if it's 2 exactly, it's about 74 cents to mail it. So something above 2, up to what number? Up to 3 ounces. So like my class said like 2.1 to 3 ounces. That's fine. I would just say above 2 ounces, up to 3 ounces. So anything in between that but it has to be above 200. Questions on that? So now that's looking at your outputs, the cost, and attaching it to a possible input. And yes, there's more than one possible input. Usually for piecewise. All right, now number 3, we have Kieran and May wrote some rules to represent the postage function, but each of them made some errors. So they both made errors. You and your groups will identify the error and correct it. So they both made errors. You have to find for each person. Discuss that, come to an agreement. I'll give you about a minute. So table 5. What was the mistake that Kieran made? Okay. Okay, what's wrong with this part? It doesn't have to just be out. You guys have to let them do it. Just examine it. The way that they wrote the rule. We're looking for an error in how they wrote the rule. You can tell from the graph like what it costs for a particular amount based on the symbols and stuff, and now connect it to what's here. Because that has a price difference there. But there's something that's wrong with it. What is it? What did you say? Okay, table 6, help them out. We're looking for mistakes in how they wrote it. Think about if you had to graph that. What would your graph look like? Does it look different than what you were provided? If so, then that's a mistake. Table 7. There's technically 5 mistakes in Kieran, so I just need you to tell me one of them. I've already tried. That's 3 groups. Anyone from 5, 6, or 7. I just want one mistake. There's 5 total in Kieran. Give me one of them. Okay, what about the 0? Yeah. So give me more about what mistake was made then. Yes, it is something with the 0. Look at the graph, look at the input of 0 for the graph, and look what they wrote down. So table 5, 6, or 7, what's wrong? Nope. We're saying that this is the output when the input is from 0 to 1. What's wrong with that? Do any of the other tables know what I'm talking about, Brian? Okay, voice is off and you guys should pay attention to this, because I don't know how to be that explicitly telling. So Brian, just give me one of the mistakes specifically with the 0.
So basically, it means that get a application out of it. And that's. There is nothing.
So would that make sense with our given graph? So what he said was, what that is saying is that even if it weighs 0, it costs 50 cents. Is that what it says on our graph? How much does it cost for 0? Does it cost anything when it's 0? No, there's no value there. That's an open circle. So how can I correct this? Jalen? Good. That shows me that anything above 0, but not exactly 0, costs the 50 cents. There's also something else, well, actually not in that portion's fine now. What are some of the other mistakes that Kieran made? Brian?
Oh, that, so basically, I would say. 0, less than. So we, greater than, all of them less than or equal to 1, and then on the next. I'll in this case. That's a problem because it is meant to be equal to 1 problem. It could be either one.
Okay, so the way that Kieran wrote it here, to just repeat what he said so that you can all hear. We have 2 different prices for when it weighs $1. Is that accurate? No, there's just one price for when it weighs $1. What is the price? Or not $1, when it weighs 1 ounce, what is the price? Oh, here's the 1, here's the closed circle. It costs 50 cents. So which one needs to be fixed? The second one. How can I fix it? Take out the equal to part of it. Just make it less than. So then any other mistakes with this one? Yep, it shows 2 values for when it weighs 2 ounces. Which one is the correct one for when it weighs 2 ounces? So then I need to change this one into what? Less than. And then same thing for the 3. How much does it cost for the 3? The 92 cents. So that means we need to fix this one to be just what? Less than. See, was that so hard? That's not hard. Like, we just had to read it and compare it to the graph. Now what about for May? Don't pack up yet. If you don't finish this, we're gonna go overtime. Which means I'll keep you until we finish it. So with May, what's the wrong with May? Yeah, there are 2 ones, but it doesn't tell me which one is the answer. Okay, good. Anything else? Are these ones over here correct? Okay, good.